Hey folks, it's Liquid here. Let's talk about TLT, the long-term bond fund, because last year I bought the ETF thinking it would go up, but when it broke support here, I decided to get out because I wanted to limit my downside risk. But I did mention that eventually I would be jumping back into TLT again once it starts to show signs of recovering again. And right now it looks like it could be an inflection point where TLT could be going back up. So looking at the daily chart, we see this black line here, which was support last year, and now it acts as resistance as the price wasn't able to sustainably hold above that level. And now if we draw a channel sloping downwards, you can see the market is back up at the top of this blue bear channel, which will give the price another opportunity to break out of it and potentially start a new bull channel. And that's usually how these cycles work. For example, last time we had a bear channel that was similar. The price went up and down within the bounds of this channel, but when it broke out of it over here, it started a new bull trend, and that's when TLT went higher. Now looking at the daily chart, because we are right at the pivotal point at the top of this channel right now, it's hard to say what TLT will do from here, but it's either going to break out and go higher, or it will bounce off of this and most likely go back down to either test the previous low here or go all the way back down to the bottom of the channel, which will test the low 80s, hitting an important support line that was also met back in 2023. I think we're only days away to find out which of the two scenarios is going to take place. And one thing to help us determine that trend would of course be the 30-year US Treasury yield, because long-term bonds have an inverse relationship with the current yield. And as you can see with this US 30-year, it reached as high as 5% earlier this year, but has come off the top and touched this black support line. And this is pretty crucial because if it goes below this and breaks down, then it could fall a lot further. But if it bounces from here, then it can go back up to the 5% level or potentially even higher. And that would likely send TLT lower. So buying TLT now would not be a good idea if that were the case. One thing that can send yields higher would be higher inflation. We are already seeing that in the data. Starting from late last year, the inflation rate has been going up for 3 consecutive months and is heading away from the Fed's 2% target. Now, this upcoming week is going to be an important one because on Wednesday the 12th, we are going to get the January inflation report. And if that continues to increase, especially if it goes past 3, then we can easily see bond yields increase. So in a few more trading days, we will likely have a verdict of how the yield is going to interact with this support line, which means we'll have a better idea of where TLT may be headed. There's also the threat of trade wars and tariffs. Those are inflationary as well. So we need to keep an eye on those things as they progress. But I think the main thing is still inflation, and also as an extension of that, inflation expectations, which has soared over the last couple of months. This is what a consumer survey shows of what inflation would likely be 1 year from now. And the expectations do matter because if I put the survey on the top and compare it to the actual rate of inflation on the bottom, actual CPI, you can see how they are roughly correlated. So if we do see reflation in the economy, then not only will we have fewer interest rate cuts this year, but we might also see the Fed raising rates at some point, which would be a terrible thing for the price of TLT. So I think right now it's too early to call whether it's a good time to get back into TLT, but I do plan to start accumulating again if the price of TLT goes above the top of this channel, and I probably need to see a few candles above just to confirm that it's not going to be something like this where we have like one candle below the channel and that was it went back in. So a clear breakout of the channel would be the first thing I would look for. Also, the shorter exponential moving averages have to cross above the longer one. So the green is already above the blue, but I want to see both of these above the red 50 EMA before I start accumulating. And finally, the third thing I need to see happen is a breakdown of this support line of the 30-year bond yield. Those things put in place will, of course, not guarantee TLT will go up, but I think it will represent a good time to start dollar cost averaging into TLT for a longer time horizon. So if I do buy some TLT, I'll give you guys another update. But that's going to be it for now. Thanks a lot for watching. Good luck with your investments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.